All right, welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. We are here to continue to pick apart Raw, SmackDown, working into PLE. We're essentially 2 weeks away from the road to WrestleMania. Um, we're essentially we hit week two of Raw on Netflix. Um, I think it's getting better. I still think obviously there's some fine tuning, but I mean, I think over the next couple, let's say like a month or two, I think they're gonna finally hone in what they want to do with Raw on Netflix. Plus, you have the 3 hour SmackDown, so there's more to do on that show. So I don't know really how to depict, but I mean, here we go. Like, as much as CM Punk, I feel like honestly has a past grievance with John Cena, he really just seems like a John Cena. Like when he cuts these promos, every time he comes out, he's thanking everybody and he's glad handing everyone. I feel like he's just a tattooed, hair slicked back John Cena. And as much as I feel like he might have a grievance and maybe we'll see a match between him and John Cena, he literally just looks like a carbon copy. The promos are getting pretty much basic. I mean, it's him and Cody Rhodes are cutting the same basic promos week in and week out, and it's kind of boring. And the only difference is that people are telling CM Punk he sucks. So whether it's Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre, at least people are speaking up and calling it like it is against CM Punk. I mean, it's just the same thing over and over. Like it reminds me when Roman said, "Oh, it's like the same thing over and over. It's like missionary position." Like,
Mm,
like we're getting fed the same soup every week and it's boring. Like, come with something different. You're going to every city and glad handing them and like being just Mr. Jolly old Second City Saint and like I don't like it. I'm over it. I get it. They're gonna jam CM Punk down our throats as much as humanly possible, just because he's the great comeback and he's the all about the comeback and the whole I got hurt because I had wrestled in freaking forever and I sat out for 8, 10 months before I came back and yada 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 and like cool dude. So is everybody else. Like you're not special. Your injury is not special. Randy Orton's been injured. Cody's been injured. Triple H has been injured. So many other people have been injured and had comebacks, and they weren't shoving that down our throat. So boo hoo, you got injured. Nobody cares. I mean, obviously people care, but like it's repetitious and you're not special when it comes to I came back from an injury. Sorry.
yeah, I
So
yeah. I mean, injuries do happen. It's CM Punk.
no, yeah, that's
When
and that's why we're getting it so much. It's so at least Monday Night Raw was good because we had the recent signing of the one and only Penta man.
Yes. Yep.
Like, dude, his entrance is not I mean pun intended, but his entrance is fire. Like,
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I think it was awesome. I think the little promo he cut after it I
Yep.
think was good. I mean, obviously coming from, we'll call subpar professional wrestling entertainment, versus coming to, WWE obviously is a step up, and I think it was short and sweet and to the point. So, I look forward to more lucha wrestling. Definitely at his caliber. I mean, I don't think if you don't know who he is, you best go YouTube and search the man because he's definitely, I would say, top five luchas of all time. So, if you want to know, go on YouTube, search him up, look at what he's done in the business. So, Chad Gable obviously took it on the chin, literally.
Literally, yep.
And I think that's a good out the gate match. Cause like I don't like when someone comes in and then they give him like a softball match. Chad Gable's no slouch. And so obviously, great match. Good start to finish. Definitely, look forward to what Penta's gonna do. So the next match of the night was, Sheamus and Ludwig, which I feel like this is just becoming filler, and it kind of sucks because Sheamus is high caliber, top tier talent, and you're basically putting him in a boring storyline. This whole Ludwig thing and Mister Small Trunks Ludwig Kaiser. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think as far as just kind of it seems like misuse of Sheamus's talent?
I think
pretty much.
Yeah, I think it keeps Sheamus on TV. They've got to be like teasing that, him getting that Intercontinental Championship to close out his career. They wouldn't keep running him back in these matches, even though he is incredibly solid and experienced in the ring, WWE style. So there's got to be a payoff with him having all these matches, especially not going after a world heavyweight title match time and time again. He's like, he seems to keep finding himself staring down Braun Breaker and that IC title. So the payoff's got to be either at Saturday night main event or the Royal Rumble. There's something. Don't drag it out till WrestleMania, but definitely.
And I think honestly, him winning the IC title at WrestleMania, I feel like would be the greatest possible point for him to do that. They've really been. It's kind of weird because it's like they put him in the IC stuff and then they moved him to a different brand, and then it's like he was away from the IC and then now he's back on the same. And so like I don't like that they've. And they probably have something in the books. I'm sure they do. But it's just like give the man his roses, give him his IC title, let him basically make a full round of his career in WWE. It's like, why are you dragging this out for him? Like, for one, it kind of pisses off most wrestling fans because you're just like you've had him in the matches, and then he loses and whatever else, and it's just give the man the title.
I think they will. I think
they'll
give it. I think they'll give it to him at Saturday night main event.
Yeah, there's gotta be a payoff.
If they don't, they're gonna have a lot of pissed off fans.
I think it's time to see Braun Breaker into something more interesting, something more physically imposing for him. Braun Breaker and Gunther could be a really good in between for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean
it's
just like I don't see Jay winning the title.
Yeah, I don't see Jay winning the title, but I also see them setting up something else for Jay, maybe a Jay Tamatonga match, perhaps.
I mean, they
outside
have
of that,
they have 3 matches listed for Saturday Night Main Event. I mean, thus far, and literally it's Saturday, so I mean, it's not, like I don't like when they don't. It seems to not have good build, and like Saturday Night Main Event is basically in between, like a Raw and SmackDown and a PLE. That's basically what it is, and so I don't like when they just toss matches in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, especially because obviously Royal Rumble's in 2 weeks, and we have one match, singles match for Royal Rumble, and then we have men and women's Royal Rumble. We really haven't had any women's Royal Rumble anything. No one said, I declare, or anything like, like how the men have. The men, it's stacked. Like,
Right.
you have Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. Like, it's stacked already, and there's only been 4 or 5 guys declared. So, the fact that they haven't done that with women's, it's kind of like, it's bad enough the men's watered down the Money in the Bank, and then they amplified the women's Money in the Bank, but like to literally just kind of almost skip over anything to do with the Women's Royal Rumble. Like, it's the road to WrestleMania. This is supposed to mean something. This is supposed to be something high caliber, and it's getting watered down, and I don't like it. Really wish they would. It's WrestleMania season, and we're 3 months away from WrestleMania, and you guys are like dragging your feet. But
the only person that has announced was Nia Jax, and she did that last week on Netflix. So,
and so you have
only
one.
just one, only one person, which
because
is
back, in years past, people would be declaring left and right. We'd have back promos, in-ring promos, talking about being at it, and now it's like you're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, there's some people showing up, especially, and I'm okay with, like, let's say they have like 10 surprises per men's and women's Royal Rumble. I mean, the men's, I definitely think you're gonna see at least 5 guys from NXT. They're not gonna win.
Yep.
They're not gonna win.
You might even see a couple of people from TNA. I would hope that there would be couple of people from TNA.
Yeah, because
Same here.
on NXT they have been showing they've been having TNA talent show up to NXT. And so they had I think it was like the Knockouts champion, I think, was there on Tuesday. And so I think we're going to start getting those crossovers, which I'm good with. They just can't miss the mark on it, though.
Yeah, this got to, yeah. I could.
It has to make sense. Because Jordan Grace has been kind of interjected more into
they want to sign her so bad. I know that they do.
And it's and they've really they have Julia, they have Zarya, Jordan Grace is obviously probably in the works somewhere. I mean, I think NXT is definitely starting to pull some talent, whether it's, and for most of the time it's honestly the women's division stuff, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't think the main roster is ready for what's coming from NXT. As far as the women's division, I think it's going to amplify the women's division, just the talent that there is, because there's multiple factions. There's, just a lot of talent, and they're all kind of waiting in the wings to get their chance. And I think we're going to see at least 5 to 6 NXT people, whether women's and men, in the Royal Rumble match. I don't know how they'll list them out. I don't know if it'll be quick ins, quick outs, or it'll be like middle. But obviously it's gonna happen. There's gonna be 20 of the basic, and there's gonna be 5. There's gonna be like 5, NXT, and then like 5 mysteries. And I feel like that's kind of like the cookbook of like the Royal Rumble is. It's 20 we know, 5 we know of, and 5 we're hoping they come. So I think that's pretty much what we're gonna get. So as far as like the whole Saturday night event, obviously now you have Jay and Gunther, which I feel like we all know Gunther's gonna keep going, which isn't a surprise. I mean, he's
really gonna keep that title always straight to WrestleMania.
At least.
Yeah, I am.
Same thing with Cody.
What would be I think would be ideal, or what could happen based upon some of the rumors and things that we've seen, um, is that we get Gunther in a triple threat with Seth Rollins and CM Punk.
Maybe.
I
Depending,
I would say
depending on who wins the world,
I would say
who
Fatal
wins the Royal
four-way.
Rumble. Yeah, depending on who wins the Royal Rumble, or they
You
could
have
just
to-
go the other way and just Roman Reigns and Gunther. I mean,
So
I've
you
heard
have
that.
to add Drew in that because he got screwed out of it.
Well, I mean, I think everybody's pretty much been mutually screwed in some way, shape, or form, which is why the majority of the entrants right now in the men's Royal Rumble all basically they all have their grievances, and so like it's the men's Royal Rumble is very storyline based, and there's a lot coming into the Royal Rumble with a grievance, with a grudge. They want something back. Seth wants his title back. Roman wants his title back. So like they're all. Drew has his grievances about his title stuff. I mean, so it's the guys that are even listed as it right now, with the exception of John Cena, really all have a storyline ply of why they're in the Royal Rumble. So, so we finally get the final match for the Women's Intercontinental. Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria. And if you don't know Lyra Valkyria, I think to the depth that I do, she's definitely put in the work. She's had, a lot of high caliber matches. And like we said last week, honestly, like I'm okay with whoever won. I'm a little bit more happy for Lyra, just because of the journey. I feel like Dakota Kai, I mean, obviously with the injuries plagued and, a lot of the time on the shelf, I guess you could say, it's unfortunate, but I don't think that in the near future that it's out of the question for this match to get ran back and go a different way. So, I'm all for it. I know, obviously the US title on SmackDown with Chelsea Green is starting to get some matches in. So I look forward to the matches we're going to have for the Women's Intercontinental and see how things go. I think it's good because it doesn't we don't only get one title shoved down our throat. We can spread out the stories a little bit. We kind of let them cook a little bit more now that we have two titles. Obviously, on top of the tag titles, but those seem to not matter. So
I don't think they haven't really done much with the women's tag titles much since Jaden got hurt.
Yeah, I mean it's been lackluster at best. I mean, like at this point, I just want to know who screwed over Jade Cargill, and that's all I really care about as far as the whole tag thing and all that nonsense. And like we've said before, we have those handful of people we want it to be, or hopefully it probably is. But I feel like until we get it, we're not going to be able to know. I mean, we could pontificate for hours about who done what, but at the end of the day, we just got to wait and see.
And I don't think we'll have to wait too long. Either Saturday night main event or the Royal Rumble, we'll find out.
So, I mean, we'll kind of run through the rest of the matches, but I mean, Sammy beating The Miz. I mean, that's filler. So with this whole trade portal nonsense, Nia Jax comes out to basically, talk to Rhea, kind of, basically say, hey, I'm next kind of mentality in her. Looks like she ate a cheetah. I don't know. That's way too much cheetah for anybody. But in typical fashion, obviously Bayley they're in her hometown of San Jose, and so obviously she's gonna say whatever she wants. I still love, and it doesn't matter how many times it happens that Michael Cole and Bayley go at it. I love it. I think it's hilarious. I think it's kind of a a kind of a one of these moments where Michael Cole can kind of just say what he wants to say.
Pretty much.
And so
Yeah.
I just love it, you stupid idiot, and and I love it. It's a small little treat every time it happens, just because it's a good icebreaker. It really is. So, so we don't really have a confirmed if are we having Nia Jax versus Rhea. It's been talked about. I haven't seen anything confirmed. Maybe that might be Saturday night main event. That could be Royal Rumble. But again, nothing's confirmed, so we really can't. I think Royal Rumble would make more sense. I feel like that'd be a good match to have at Royal Rumble, just
Agreed.
because we're kind of limited to what we have right now, and it's 2 weeks away. It's the only story that honestly has something that could lead to a match at a high caliber PLE. So I'm hoping we get it there. I don't want it at that main event. I feel like this is a high caliber match that needs to be at a high caliber, But again, if Nia goes to the Royal Rumble, we don't know. So I mean, we don't have any females confirmed essentially, with the exception of kind of Nia Jax, but she's also in the picture with this whole Rhea with a title match. So whether it's so it's kind of weird that we're 2 weeks from the road to WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, and we really have nothing for women's division right now. And I think I don't like it. I think you normally have in the past where it's like I said, everybody's kind of declaring, and now we just have nothing.
This is the men's the only one that has a lot of people announcing that they're entering the Royal Rumble.
And there's only like 6 of the 30.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so I'm guessing there will be a lot of surprises, and maybe that's what they're counting on. They're counting on a lot of surprises, and not really like.
I mean, Charlotte's number 30, so yeah. I want to know the other 29.
Yeah, if she comes back. Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I can't see her not being like later in the match.
I mean, I'd say between 25 and 30.
I'm going to say 25.
So I mean,
I will go with 29
for sure, and she's gonna win it. Like, I think I'm probably on board with probably a lot of people. She's gonna win it, and then she's gonna go, and I think she'll go after Stratton. I don't think she'll go after Rhea. Maybe she will. I mean, obviously we've had them back and forth.
Yeah.
When they had the NXT title, that that Charlotte chose her to go for the NXT title. We've had them, so maybe we get a run back. Maybe we get a rubber match as it was. With those,
they're both 1-1.
Yeah, I would, but I don't know if I would want Rhea to drop to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Unless we get a really like monster heel Charlotte.
I mean, she's been doing the whole like dark, gear and everything. So maybe we get a heel Flair. I don't know. We'll wait and see. The promos and everything else they've been putting up. So final match of the night. Again, I'm not liking these run back matches. Damian defeats Finn Balor in a street fight. I mean, are we ever going to be over these matches with Damian and Finn and Damian and Dominic and then you have the outside interference? It's like they're making the same cookies week in and week out with this whole feud, and it's just like one of them needs to leave that brand because it just it has to. I don't care if the Judgment Day dissipates, and let's say during the draft they get separated, right? Maybe and maybe Liv doesn't go with them. Maybe she does. Maybe they say the whole Judgment Day goes. I don't know. But it has to happen because I'm sick of them running this crap back with Judgment Day and Damian. And honestly, I think it would make more sense if let's say Rhea loses and she goes to the other brand, right? And let's say her and Damian go to the other brand. They go to SmackDown. Thank the heavens. Because I think that's the only thing that I think would happen is those two go. Because I think really on Raw, you don't have too much. And I think SmackDown with all the bloodline stuff, I feel like it's very heavily story based with the bloodline. And I don't know. It has to happen. I think it's getting stale and it's getting boring and it's getting predictable. And we just need to figure out how to move past it. So SmackDown. Good old Kevin Owens and the title that has no relevancy. You know, I chalk it up for his ability to do what he's doing on the mic in regards to it. But it's just like, I love how Ray's just like, yeah, you're dumb. You're as delusional as my son. I thought, I love it. I think Rey Mysterio, I mean, the guy's been in the business for
decades. I mean, just since I want to say Ray has been wrestling longer than he's been able to drink legally in the US. Like,
I think that's
like
fair.
14, 15, and he's like pushing mid 40s now. Just an incredible career. I mean, granted, he's been injured, but injuries aside, he has had so many things and still has just been this amazing talent.
He stayed relevant.
Amazing. Yeah. Stay relevant and to stay good and competitive with everyone and make the people around you that good.
He's actually 50. He's actually 50.
That's how many people can just like wake up and say, I'm gonna be like my favorite uncle and I'm gonna be a luchador. And then do it for like what?
34 years.
34 years. Yeah. So I was trying to do the math and I just blanked out. Sorry.
Well,
but
actually,
that is like
math. So 36 actually.
Yeah, 36, 34. But
he debuted April 30th of 1989.
Jesus.
Just incredible. An incredible career. I
don't think where he was at like in the beginning obviously is where he's at now. I'd say but either way, I'd say he's had a solid of the 36, since the quote unquote debut. I think he's had 30 years of solid relevancy in, being that he's shorter and he's defied the odds and he's won Royal Rumbles and he's won championships and it's an attest to the absolute talent of Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, so he's won a lot of titles.
There's
everywhere he has been a champion or he has been able to have championship matches and it's just an incredible career.
I mean it's so deep. I mean, his Wikipedia page is just plethora. I mean, I'm scrolling about 10 different times to go through everything. I think it's, and he loves the business too. And he really hasn't deviated from WWE either. I think that in and of itself, I think when you love what you do and you love where you work, regardless of who's at the helm, I think he's been utilized properly.
Right. Yeah.
For so long.
Utilized properly. I know he's been elsewhere. He's been, I think his most recent stint was in Lucha Underground before coming back to the WWE. But he's had incredible matches in Japan, in Mexico, here in the States for other companies. He
could be done tomorrow and we'd be good with it. I mean, he's 50. Let that sink in. He's 50.
I mean,
and
you know,
he doesn't have a basic move set either. Okay, like
yeah,
legit, he's 50. Okay, I don't know what 50-year-old is still doing a 619 like a senton freaking
Still
all
looks
this stuff.
great for his
Yeah,
age.
and
yep.
it's so like it and
He
like
doesn't
it's like
look 50.
no, I
He
mean
doesn't move like he's 50. I mean, yeah, I'm sure his, he's not,
he,
springboard off of everything, every like move, offensive
no.
move or whatever have you. But I mean, to still be able to be a draw and to be a presence and to be relevant, is incredible for him, and it's incredible
Well,
that a lot of
and
people have got to watch and celebrate him and to be, there's like dozens of
well,
performers that have come up and just like, I wanted to be like you inspired me, and now I get to be in the ring with you. I mean, you can look at
it's
it like, it's very rare that you could like meet your hero and then go on your own professional wrestling journey and then be in a match or be in the same organization or company as your hero and be able to like, share
yeah,
that with them.
it's well,
It's
in most people,
yeah.
literally, I would say probably 90% of the roster grew up watching him. Like,
Yeah.
let that sink in. He's still going at it, and so he's been doing it for 30 odd years. Most of the roster is under the age of 30. like
Oh yeah, definitely.
in the fact that and the thing is too is in like the lucha legacy too,
Mhm.
in lucha style wrestling and everything, and I love that he's invested in Dragon Lee. I like that he's basically continuing to like invest in the future,
Yeah.
and do I see Dragon Lee as some great thing down the road? No, but like the legacy I think of lucha wrestling, because it's a different style, I
Yeah.
think will continue to live on. I think whether Ray is in the business, if he's in the ring or out of the ring or backstage, I think he's going to continue to bestow his wisdom, to the brand, whether it's lucha or just obviously just wrestlers in general. The his ring IQ is well above most.
Yeah.
So
Definitely, but I would love to see him and what's his name to go at it.
Penta,
Hopefully.
Penta.
Yeah. I would
they've
love
already had a match, and it
I've
was in
never
Lucha Underground. And I'm sure it's on the internet, you can watch it. I have not watched it, but um, I know I saw that match come up in like a compilation or something like that. And but it was he was going Penta was going by Pentagon Jr., and I think Ray was going with Rey Mysterio Jr. So yeah, they've crossed paths, and it would be fun to have them do that similar match, just not in that Lucha Underground style. Because
Yeah, it
if
was
you've seen, there's a video of Penta going up against several current women's WWE superstars, and
it was September 7th
yeah,
of 2016.
yeah,
That is a long ass time ago.
yeah, almost
Like,
10 years, almost 10
you
years ago,
know,
they
um oh man. Yeah, it's longevity, man.
yeah,
I don't know, it still blows my mind even. But so we'll move along. So Jimmy defeats Carmelo Hayes by no contest, obviously because of the bloodline. Now, via my hashtag here, so holy crap, Jacob Fatu. Okay, Solo bitches, and they said the plans changed last minute, and Solo just drops the mic and walks out. He's supposed to acknowledge Roman Reigns and the whole nonsense, and he just leaves. And Jacob Fatu cuts a promo that is not a a mic recipe of WWE. Okay, that was him unleashed. Okay, he's just getting started.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I really, 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 really hope that he, with maybe, God, but no Solo. Maybe it's just those three, is God and Jacob Fatu. That thing, I don't know what Solo's gonna do. I really don't. Because now that he's lost, I don't know what they really have for him, because you can't come out and say, acknowledge me. You can't do anything.
I
So I
mean,
don't know. But
yeah,
where's Solo
what
going to get
would
lost in the shuffle is what I'm saying. Is like, what do
I
they
would
have?
not be surprised if they do a spoiled loser type of vibe with Solo, where he just comes and he's just a nuisance to people. Where he acts like, just a tough guy or a heavy. I'm sure that they'll figure out the creative direction, but yeah, I'm sure that they'll do that. But in the short term, I would like to see him lost, because it worked pretty well for a Baron Corbin at one particular point, trying to like reinvent
Bum
his
ass Corbin.
character. Yep. So I would like to see him kind of like lost a little bit, and then do something that really undermines other people from the bloodline. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure that there's something, but getting back to Jacob Fatu, it's only a matter of time until we get the Jacob Fatu that we have seen in the indies in a WWE style.
Well, because there's no more anybody holding him back.
Nope.
So now we're gonna get Jacob Fatu doing whatever the fuck he wants. Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that, I think we'll find out more of how they utilize Jacob Fatu when he has that match with Braun Strowman
oh
on
yeah,
Saturday
that's
Night
what
Main Event.
that's what I was just gonna get to.
Yeah,
I mean,
and depending how they
talk about
do it.
that's a big match. Like,
Yeah,
this is not gonna be like a technical match. This is gonna be, like I said before recorded, just meat. Not a lot of bread,
yeah.
just meat. As Booker T says. And so, like, this is gonna be big move for big move, and that's all it's gonna be. And I think Jacob Fatu will come out on top with this. Um, I don't see him losing. um, but it would be kind of redundant if Braun Strowman won, but like, not likely. But
Yeah, I don't see I don't think anybody on the screen right now is convinced that Braun Strowman is going to win.
no,
I think Braun Strowman is doing his job,
right?
helping to elevate Jacob Fatu, and that's one of the like natures of the business. It's just like, Braun has already been a world champion. Braun has like had a lot of high caliber matches, and it's not that Braun isn't a really big force. It's just that
he's still the undisputed whatever Rumble
It was
champion.
the greatest Royal Rumble is a 50-man.
Yeah.
He's
So
still the
I
champion of
want
that.
them
Yeah.
to run that back.
yeah, he still has credit. I do
Yeah.
think it is just something along the lines of,
Well, and it's because
it's Jacob's time.
he's a big man that's okay with losing to another big man, and
Right.
not and it doesn't detriment his
It
credentials.
doesn't hurt him. It
So-
won't hurt him.
No,
No.
and so yeah, so after obviously Motor City Machine Gun basically lost their titles to the well placed feud with DIY. Now they're just kind of just putting in matches now. Los Garza, I really think they're enhancing at this point. I don't think they have much relevancy, but they're there enough to put in decent matches. And that's just what they are right now. But I'm okay with that. I think it's good to have tag team wrestling where it's like, yeah, they might not win all the time, but like they still put on good matches, and you know what? They still have a job. So like, I'm all for, if this is what you want me to do, I'll do it. No problem.
Yeah.
You know,
I think like with anyone that is in the WWE, you definitely, as a reminder, you have these ebbs and flows, right? I can see um Garza and Humberto getting some sort of championship run in the future, in the future, just like I do like Pretty Deadly getting I think they might even get another championship run. I don't know if they've held like tag team champions before, but it's just when it makes sense because they're not bad in the ring at all, and they are seasoned professional wrestling veterans, both of them. I think it's just everyone else's time before them. And they're not. Yeah.
so speaking of, enhancement talent, but so we get the reemergent of B-Fab, basically had a backstage segment, blah blah, with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Michin basically kind of breaks up that, and so that leads to a match, Piper Niven and B-Fab. Little bit of tomfoolery. Piper Niven wins, but like we talked about beforehand, is that it's good to see her back, and it's good to see her on her own with a veteran that is Michin. Michin has been around a lot longer than most people think. And so this is another one of those Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair moments where it's like you have the experience, but you still need fine tuning.
Yep.
And and I look forward to B-Fab by herself. I wish they would change her name, but that's the
Yeah.
least of it. That's the least of it.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
but I like we said before, is like she has the size, she has the move set. It's just a matter of fine tuning. I think B-Fab is definitely in the next couple years, depending on what the roster is, obviously, but being a secondary title, a US or Intercontinental, I don't think she's there on the top tier, but that's okay. Because you know what?
She'll
You
get
still have a
there.
job. You're still
Right.
showing up. You're still getting paid. So like,
Still have the
however
fans
you-
on your side.
yeah.
Yep.
And so and I think that's the thing too, is like, if fans acknowledge you and fans still cheer for you, then you're doing okay. Okay. Now when you get situations when you go out there and you get booed, like
Booed
Mr. Hulk Hogan, Boo
booed
Hogan,
or
Mm.
crickets sounds where nobody.
Yeah.
like,
I think if crickets are the worst and anything else is all right, we know what to do. So yeah, you're right, Tim. Yeah.
so we get the match with Kevin Owens and Ray. A little bit of underhandedness. Kevin Owens defeats Ray.
How would I
Doesn't
do
really
that?
do anything for either. Again, Ray is beyond a veteran. He's like a mega veteran. I think, and so this loss really isn't that detrimental. This is just one of those feud in the back. Let's have a match. And it is kind of funny how like you really only have a handful of matches ever listed before a Raw or SmackDown. Half of the matches are basically slated for a backstage segment and then let's fight kind of situation, which isn't bad. It's we need some like legit feuds, not repetition feuds that go on for 500 years, but I'm ready for some new feuds. Okay, because I'm sick of Judgment Day. I'm sick of the New Day. I'm sick of the Bloodline stuff. Like, we've been running this stuff, especially the Bloodline and Judgment Day stuff. Well, the Bloodline's been going on for 5 years roughly, and the Judgment Day stuff's going on for about 3 years. And so like, well, I'm ready for something new, okay? Like, I know we're still going to be stuck in this rut for the foreseeable, like, let's say year. I
Mhm.
hope less. But man, I'm ready for something different. I mean, but I don't know what Mr. Paul Levesque has in store for us. So I feel like, again, this is kind of his first official year of being at the helm from day one. And so, because he basically kind of started like WrestleMania ish last year. And so I think this is the first full year he's going to have under his belt, running the ship. So, I look forward to what's going to happen. It just, we're only not even 3 weeks into January. So it's not like, we're like, oh my gosh, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. Well, so the frick what? Like, it doesn't mean things can't happen. It doesn't mean that things can't develop, and you can cry me a river and build a bridge and get over it. But like, Triple H knows what he's doing. This is not his first rodeo, and so like, we're gonna get stuff. You just gotta be patient and ride the wave of whatever he has going on, and it's gonna work into things that are great. I mean, WrestleMania is gonna be absolutely insane.
Well,
We
it's
all
going to be
know
a
it.
great WrestleMania.
I mean, especially since we've, ever since we've gone to the 2-night format, it is just it's great. I love it because now you don't have to like smush everything into, because like WrestleManias were what, like 4 or 5 hours before, like if it was one night,
Yeah.
and so
that
it's a
gets-
lot of investment.
Yeah.
And so now that it's kind of 2 nights, you can kind of spread things out a little bit more. Let the matches tell more stories. And you're basically having, I think it's like around like 5 or 6 matches a night. So now more talent can get on that stage, even though they might be minuscule matches. But like, if you're on the WrestleMania card, like that's still a flex. Like, because
I mean,
that means that you are good enough in Triple H's eyes to have that spot, big or small. Even if you're just filler, even if you're a 10, 12, 13-minute match, like either way, you belong there. You put in the work to be there. And that's what I understand is that like sometimes we just have filler matches, and that's okay. Everybody, has to work through their progression as, mid-card talent. You don't get to the top unless you work your way through the bottom. So, that's how WWE is. You put in the work and you earn your comeuppance and your opportunities. So
Yes, hopefully they don't have a lot of fillers.
yeah.
well, I mean, I think now
At least one filler on both nights.
Yeah, I think there are some stories that need to wrap it up, especially at WrestleMania.
oh, sure.
I really want to see like either the New Day digs in more into their heel run, or we start to turn the page and bring them back because
I don't know.
You know-
They're going to debut their new self Monday.
we'll
I mean,
see.
I want Cody to lose, and then the following week, that hair goes black.
Yeah.
That's
That
because
heel Cody?
I need the
that heel
begrudging
Cody. Yeah, that heel
The
Cody.
old school Cody.
Yeah.
With
I don't know
black
if I need. I think what I would want in a heel Cody.
You want Stardust?
No, I mean, only way I would want a Stardust if he's in his heel era and he's doing Stardust to like get under someone or to like really like undermine someone, kind of like how Kevin Owens has been like doing him with these shots out at his dad and the different t-shirts. I would want him to do that and win as Stardust and then just have like a fit about it. Outside of that, I don't think I ever want to see him do Stardust again.
I don't know. Kevin Owens needs to like poke the bear a little bit and bring out that
and
Stardust style.
that's it. If
Bring
I
out
want
somebody dressed up as him.
Yeah,
What
like
if Kevin
yeah.
Owens is Stardust?
Oh God, no,
Oh God.
no.
He'd be like,
Oh
you know,
man.
he'd be more like Meteorite than Stardust. But I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just
I don't want to
think
have
that
nightmares.
would be
man.
funny. That would be funny to
It
have him.
would. It would be funny, but
I
no,
mean,
no.
I
I
think
don't want to see that.
I think if any wrestler currently can push the envelope, it's Kevin Owens. Okay, like
Come on, Kevin
because
Owens did with
he
Stone
has no
Cold.
loyalty to anybody, right? Like
Nope.
he's built a career on befriending and unfriending people in WWE. So like if he wants to, if there's anyone that can push the envelope and do something so out of box, like go for it, Kevin. I'm all for it. Like, it's and the thing is that Kevin's right on a lot of things though. And like that's the thing is like he's playing the whatever guy right now, but he's basically like him and Drew McIntyre are honestly kind of on the similar plane right now, right? Because they're acknowledging all the things that have happened and they're basically expressing their frustrations with certain wrestlers that because the bloodline stuff when anybody that's been beat up by the bloodline is all of a sudden being friends with them, they're like someone's gonna have a problem, whether it's Drew McIntyre or Cody Rhodes or Seth, like the list, right? Like,
Right.
oh, you all this happened, and then all of a sudden you're up there shaking Paul Heyman's hand, and you're helping out Roman Reigns, and all these things. And the thing is that he is right though, like, and so, it's not even a situation where like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like it's just like all of a sudden now you're helping him out. Like,
And I look at it as being like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's just like what it is, and people are going to take shots about that, but at the same time, you weren't on the receiving end of the drama that this upstart bloodline was causing people. You were just fine sitting over there sulking. You didn't like jump in. You didn't like say like, you know what, I'm going to help them or I'm going to help you because I'm your friend and you're my friend. So I got to help you to stop them, even though I got beef with Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying?
right.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it's more about the hatred for Bloodline 2.0 than it is for the OG.
right. And that's why all those guys got back together. Jimmy was like, we ain't gonna beat all these people. We gotta we gotta get the band back together. And Roman wasn't like, you know what, I'll do it by myself before I go and get these people. Jimmy was like, I'm tired of getting beat up. I'm tired of getting beat up.
Well, and the thing is, it's a cool like full circle story though, because like, I mean, I love when they kind of you have that moment when Sami Zayn's like, you all missed this, because they're like roughly like 8, 9, 10 months from when they ran it back, and even just like not even like from like the character standpoint, from just like the person, the individual, like living in this moment when like we were all together and we were all a cohesive unit and all of that, and in the story with, basically, Jimmy was the one that was all about Sami Zayn and Jay was the pessimist towards Sami Zayn, and to kind of see all of this kind of play out, like, Sami and Jay being like the best of friends now, and then just all these intertwined things, but like they're separate from the bloodline, but like it's still a full circle moment to the bloodline because like Sami and Jay, they're just buddies and pals. Like this has nothing to do with bloodline, and I like that when they kind of went to the other show, when Sami left and then when Jay left, to do his singles run, it was cool to see both of them kind of just still good, and it's still fun to watch. And I think when you can separate the bloodline and let them have individual stories, I think it's good. And it basically, like we've talked about before, is that when the team depletes, we don't want to, it doesn't have to be under negative circumstances, right?
No.
Yeah.
And so, and I think like the bloodline is kind of a living embodiment of that. Is that although yes they were one, they're still good, but they dissipated under decent circumstances. It wasn't too detrimental, and because then that leaves the door open for the bloodline to still come together and not be something far fetched.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Judgment Day, that's a different story.
Yeah. Judgment Day is like the complete opposite. They all still hang out because they know that everybody's got beef with them and they'll all get jumped if they don't. Especially Carlito. JD McDonough, you know, Dominic couldn't even show up for work if it wasn't for Judgment Day. Let's just think about that.
Pretty much true. That's true.
Yeah. So I am man, it's just such a different like vibe,
Yeah.
when it comes to like in comparison, like how the bloodline gets together and comes together, does their thing and takes off. And then, Judgment Day is just kind of like this, this situation that you just can't get out of, But at the same time, it all gives them something to do and be about. I think they would all flounder, with the exception of Finn
Okay.
Balor. I think the remaining members of Judgment Day would kind of like not have anything to do.
Because they're mid card and Finn Balor is still top tier. And it's and like I said with like the bloodline where they can kind of dissipate and be fine. Like Judgment Day couldn't do that. Like because they are so reliant, on essentially Finn Balor and like now we're gonna really see the character development of Liv Morgan. I honestly think Raquel's gonna turn on her eventually here in the next couple months and go do her own thing. We might see maybe them in the Royal Rumble. Maybe Raquel throws Liv over. Maybe then she kind of breaks off and does her own thing. But yeah, I mean the Judgment Day they have nothing now. So like it only makes sense for them to dissipate because there's nothing left for them other than being a consistent annoyance to the roster. I don't see them getting through WrestleMania, SummerSlam. There's just nothing left for them. When they had titles, they were relevant. When they don't have titles, they're nothing. And realistically, the most relevant Judgment Day was Judgment Day 2.0. Because when Rhea and Edge and Damian came, it was good, but there was really nothing there. And so the two when Finn Balor got added to it, and so it was Finn, Rhea, and Damian, that was okay because those are all 3 stars. But Carlito, JD McDonough, Dominic, there's nothing for them right now. And I would be remiss to say that they're not going to be as prominent anymore. Just because what are you flexing about? You don't have any titles. Talk when you have titles. So I know. So Bayley obviously lost to Tiffany Stratton. Good match straight up. But like, I want to get to one thing, and I want to get your guys' thoughts. Is Corey Graves is getting screwed? Okay.
My opinion, WWE needs to do something with him. He's a great ring announcer. Not ring announcer.
Commentator.
Yeah, commentator.
They're screwing him right
I liked him. I always been a fan of him. I knew he couldn't wrestle because of how many concussions he's had. And I understand they want to look out for their talent. That's perfectly fine. What he's doing at the announce table is great. He's good on the mic. He could be a heel on the mic or a face, whatever. He's great.
he was supposed to be getting groomed to be the next Michael Cole, and then they do this. And don't get me wrong, I love Pat McAfee, I do, but it's just like to basically excommunicate him from the main roster. That's BS. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Michael Cole didn't seem too happy about it.
You know, I do support Corey Graves being on the main roster, being on either SmackDown or Raw, and being in a chair and being an anchor announcer where he can lead the program and do that sort of thing. I don't agree with Corey airing his grievances so publicly. I don't agree with that. I do sympathize or empathize with the feeling of being mistreated, and not being given that opportunity to sit in a three-man booth and seeing how it works. But I also understand why WWE went the way that they did. Do I accept it? I'm going to watch the product, right? Do I like it? No, but I can understand the reasoning. Now, the bigger question is how much of this is a work and how much of this is a shoot, meaning how much of this will get to a storyline, maybe an in-ring return for Corey Graves, perhaps a one-time in-ring something for him, or how much of this is like, yo, this is actual beef. This is actual, like, I'm not happy with this decision. I'm airing it out. And I got suspended for it. You know what I'm saying? So if it is a work, they're doing a good job telling a story. If it is a shoot and it's actual beef and there's actual real problems, I don't agree with Corey Graves airing the problems. What I would like to see is Corey Graves being very tongue in cheek and very kind of poking the bear a little bit on broadcast and still being professional, doing his job, showing up, honoring his contract, and then just week after week or meeting after meeting, just trying to get back to where he was, to try it out. I mean, for them to make to make that change without trying it out, that to me that means somebody has a problem with somebody and they chose Pat McAfee over Corey Graves. That's what it means to me. It's like, you didn't even try a three-man booth out on SmackDown. You just like said, Corey, go down here. It wasn't like Booker T was taking off and it was just, Vic Joseph and Corey Graves, right? It was like, we're going to do a three-man booth on NXT. NXT does not need a three-man booth. Okay. So all of it's playing out as like, what's really going on?
I mean, I'd be perfectly okay with Booker T going away because I'm sick of hearing his voice. I'm sick of him. But
I mean,
he overemphasizes his voice.
But that's Booker. That's kind of Booker T when he is in wrestling mode, and like sometimes when he talks, like I've seen him recently on a couple of like other wrestling podcasts, and I've kind of just like, you've got that country southern, inner city slang about you, and I could, listening to that, I could see where 2 hours of Booker T talking, you're kind of just like, can someone mute him, please? But also too, it is kind of entertaining because that's kind of always Booker T.
Well,
Would you want to hear Booker T talk like King Booker, or would you want to hear the Booker T that we always get?
I don't want to hear him at all. Like,
fair enough.
Like I and the thing is that okay. So my thing about that is that like they said, Corey Graves, you're not you're not famous enough. And the problem is that's a spit in the face. Him and Michael Cole have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And and he's kind of, he got the whole rub of being like, basically doing his job really well, and I really hope this isn't like legit them being an asshole to him, because
Right.
like,
And it could
because
it could
it just goes
just
to show.
be
Yeah.
it could just be that if I were to guess, if this is not a work,
I mean,
odds
I
are that
want it to be. I want it to be.
yeah,
But
I
it,
would
but
want
if it's
I would want it to be a work too.
but he had no filter online. And my thing is too is that, like, I think Corey Graves is more famous than Wade Barrett. Like, I'm sorry, Bad News Barrett was obnoxious. The NXT, the whatever they call them, Nexus. Like, he was the leader of that, whatever, and blah blah. But I'm sorry, Corey Graves is way more famous than Wade Barrett. Okay,
I think when it comes to like
Corey Graves has stuck it out, and Wade Barrett left and then came back. Corey Graves stuck it out the whole time.
I think Wade Barrett got released. But and then he found fame under his own name as an announcer, and then he came back as an announcer. But I think I think Corey Graves is a much better announcer than Wade Barrett. I think if I were to say it's not a shoot and to go with that, there's got to be beef between Pat McAfee and Corey Graves. And Pat McAfee won because he's a draw, because he has such an incredibly large audience outside of WWE, even though Corey Graves is a better professional wrestling play-by-play color commentator.
Yeah.
Much better.
Pat McAfee is just a famous person who basically he's famous doesn't mean he's talented. Like, just you do your podcast and that's fine, and you got this whole team and everything else. But if it was you individually, could you sustain your podcast?
Yeah, like, I think Corey Graves.
That's the issue. Is Corey Graves? Him and Vic do the,
behind the bell or after the bell or whatever.
After the bell.
So
they can sustain by themselves, and I really think at the very least he should have stayed on SmackDown, and Tessitore and Wade Barrett were there with the 3Ps. I'd have been okay with that.
Or maybe it's beef with Tessitore and Wade Barrett individually or collectively, but nonetheless, if it's not a work and there's actual beef and there's a real big problem, Corey Graves
seen it. Yeah. I mean, it's
Corey Graves lost, and that's the problem that I have with it, is that there wasn't even an attempt. There was just like, you go down to NXT. So either Corey Graves did something that rubbed people wrong, and it's kind of a demotion, or they chose someone over Corey Graves because someone didn't like Corey Graves, and he got sent there because he's got this long-term contract. Nonetheless, I want to say the professionalism in professional wrestling, whether you're an announcer, ref, or in-ring talent, or any of that, you want to carry yourself in such a way that you're still being professional. So like, I didn't get the opportunity to see any of the like online messages that he posted. So I don't know what he said and what he then removed or deleted.
I mean, it was more or less just about like, thinking you're on track, doing, basically living your dream to basically be kind of effed over. And like, I really hope that like, this is just kind of a small storyline.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it is.
Yeah, but and perhaps it is.
But I'm on Corey Graves' side on this 100% of the time.
Same here.
Like, I think that, however this is, I don't. If it's just a story thing, I don't like the story. if it's something that is legit, I'm irritated just because like you just bring in people and really if Pat McAfee didn't have his podcast, no one would give a shit about him. Like really, the thing is let that really kind of think about that. If he didn't have his podcast, the only reason why he even did the whole WWE thing is because he got bored with his podcast, and he still does his podcast. So I like how he literally can be on there and he's Mr. Famous and oh yeah, cool. You were a shitty football player and then you decided to do a podcast. Congratulations. You're known for one onside kick that is the reason why they changed it anyways. So you were a subpar professional athlete, and now you're just because you have a following, because you speak your mind and it's not a WWE podcast type of format. So he can say whatever he wants and do whatever he wants. And, they intertwine WWE once in a while in his podcast, but I don't like it, and I hope it's just a work, and I hope that, we get some definitive answers. I'm all for Pat McAfee versus Corey Graves. So
yeah, I'm not.
We'll see. It's that's all it comes down to. That's WWE for you, waiting game. So we'll slap a proverbial pin, in this, but we'll hopefully when we know more, you'll know more, or you'll find out as we find out.
I'm gonna say maybe he's cleared and he might show up in the Royal Rumble.
Mm.
I wouldn't, and I think he was cleared a while ago. I think honestly, I think there was. So
I just wanted to throw that in there before we close this.
Yeah, no, I think honestly that's valid. Maybe we get the in-ring return.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'll be happy, and I would love to see him come back in the Rumble. And maybe Pat's been a wrestle a couple times here, and see those two go at it.
Yeah, anything's possible.
That's
never
WWE.
say never.
Yep, you are right.
We'll see what happens. And FYI, this is the final episode of season 2. So I appreciate those who have been along for the ride. We'll essentially kick off next week, basically being the Sunday before the Royal Rumble on Saturday. So hopefully we have more Royal Rumble, talk. Hopefully we get, some more, matches or who's entering, so on and so forth. So hopefully we have more to kick off. I don't want to here's season 3, and then all of a sudden we're just the same shit as always, and you're and then we don't have anything for you. Sorry.
You guys suck.
Right? So yeah, so I appreciate those who have been along for the ride. So this is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.
Yeah.